Chapter 28 The Wedding. Ethicica? Queen Silenda asked one day. They were alone, so she spoke in her normal accent. Well, she was pretty sure Agri knew, or at least suspected, who she was, but she still hid her accent when he was around. What is it? Ethicica asked. I believe it is time, or nearly is at least, the girl said. It is time for me to take back what is mine. You'll need help, of course. Do you know who to ask? Ethicica smiled. I know plenty of people. I have a few ideas as well, said Queen Silenda. What about when we could do it? A party would be good. We could poison them. I don't know if it'll kill the Jarissa King, but it should weaken him at least. Thank you, said Queen Silenda. I'm your future spy master. It's my job, Ethicica said. So the girls wrote and asked people for help. Ethicica asked her comrades from her time as a spy, and their husbands, and, of course, her own, and asked Concy as well. Agri said he had strongly suspected that Louis-Chanson was actually Queen Silenda, and would be happy to help her. Queen Silenda wrote to Lady Eva Delia, who offered to host the council. She also asked the people she was sheltering who were not Prince Guero to go. The prince was very annoyed. Linsco and Thefia would both go, as would Linsco. Luzmo and Vila would as well, though Luzmo was only going to see what Vila was getting into. Viasinia and Luzmo Roja would stay in Jarissa. Lady Inya wanted to stay in Old Sillery, since she thought it would look too suspicious for her to go, and if they were caught, at least she could stay out of trouble by saying the trio had snuck out. Cara and Fieso both said they would come, but only Fieso would go to Soledo. Cara was only coming to see what he was getting into. Agri was very excited to do this, both because of what Garendo had done to his tribe during the Great Jarissa War, and because of what Ethicica had done to his wife, especially the second one. Linsco got someone to write to Zebocron about it, and the older boy was surprised he remembered. Speaking of Linsco, he and Luzmo Roja had a very interesting conversation. Linsco? The girl asked. What is it? He said. Luzmo Roja fidgeted with her hair. When you were sick, you said some things. Linsco smiled a little. Luzmo Roja, I barely remember anything from then. You're gonna have to tell me more. She hesitated, then said, You said I was pretty. Linsco blinked. Did I? He frowned. Yes, I think I remember that. Why? She sighed and avoided his eyes. Did you really mean it? Linsco nodded. I did. Luzmo Roja looked down. Tell me the truth, Linsco Riza. We're friends. You can tell me what you really think. Linsco smiled. I already have. He looked at her. Luzmo Roja, I've seen plenty of pretty girls, but of all of them, you're the prettiest. Luzmo Roja blushed. You really think so? Of course I do. That boy who brought you here didn't think so. He laughed. Zebocron, we can't trust what he says. He thinks we're heretics, for goodness sake. But Luzmo Roja, the truth is, I love you. I'd love you even if you weren't pretty, which you are. Luzmo Roja was now roughly the same color as Linsco's hair. You do? Linsco nodded. I do. Well, she stopped. I do too. Linsco smiled. A couple months later, Linsco and Thefia were eating breakfast together. Linsco sighed. Thefasija, he said. She looked up. What is it? He hesitated. Before we go and maybe die, I want to ask you something. What? Thefia asked. He hesitated again. I hate to think about what our siblings are going to say to this, but do you want to get married? She smiled. I thought we decided that on Hiladi night. Of course I will. He returned it and took her hand. Well, finally, Linsco said, smiling. I've been waiting for y'all to say that practically since I met y'all. Thefia blinked. Wait, you knew the whole time? And you heard that? He nodded. So did the princess. And I ain't the only one. They had all heard. Linsco, Luzmo Roja, Luzmo, Vila, and Viasinia. Linsco had been coming by, but then heard what was happening and found everyone else. Viasinia nodded too. She told Mapa and Bobo she did, but she said not to tell you. Vila grinned and ran off to find someone who could write. Thefia looked up. Batika, where are you going? Oh, nowhere, she said. Batika! The following letter was written. Dear Father Jeanval, the time has come. Your friend, Farelia. Father Jeanval received the letter and gave what Linsco called his evil laugh. He posted the banns in the corner in very small writing and wrote to his family. Dear Father El Mino, tell my family they have a wedding to attend soon. Your friend, Father Jeanval. The rest of Linsco and Thefia's siblings also laughed evilly, though Gaguelosso was a little annoyed that Linsco and Thefia had confessed their love before he got a wife. A girl had finally found his efforts to impress her endearing rather than annoying, and they had gotten engaged, but they had not married yet. Solazina was still waiting for the boy who clearly liked her to admit it, and was considering just telling him. After the letter came, Gaguelosso became several icroze poorer, and one of his neighbors gained that same number of icroze. Father Jeanval said their wedding in Riena Lelumi, as he had always offered to do. Now, weddings were discouraged in Delahaye and Anchigne, but he made an exception, both for the hard times and because he had been waiting 13 years for this. He had been working on his homily for that practically since the moment he was ordained. No, more like since he entered seminary, though that may not be enough time either. It began with, I told you so. After Linsco and Thefia were married, he was summoned so Lys could teach them the final skill of the Areshasiki. Lys smiled when the clearing appeared. You've gotten married! How great for you, he said. Linsco smiled and nodded. Thank you. I've also noticed that you never answered my question. Ain't Jarissa just the most beautiful woman? Lys said. Ellie groaned. The other three all glared at Lys. Now, Lys, we've talked about this, said Elinsco, and we all agreed that I'm the prettiest wife. Elinsco looked up at him. We did not! We said that mine was the prettiest. Elo rolled his eyes. Being dead's messed with your memories. We said that mine was the prettiest. You have been dead for longer than I have! Linsco looked thoughtful. You know, I never thought I'd say this, but you're all wrong, he said. I have the prettiest wife. Linsco, you've betrayed me! Ellie sighed. And so the Areshasiki got into yet another argument about who had the prettiest wife. They eventually started poetically describing their wives, which made Ellie very uncomfortable. At one point, Elinsco started reading from La Consacrance. The rest then thanked him for describing his wife. Like the previous time, the argument shifted to Lys's nationality and orthodoxy. They did eventually get around to teaching Linsco about different enchantments he could make to his weapons. Some made them silent, others unseen. Others made it so they could move through water as easily as if through air. Finally, as Gaguelosso chimed, returning to her true form and full power. If he still had two hands, Linsco might have held her in both. He blinked, feeling the power that coursed through her. Well, I suppose you have atoned for letting that girl touch me, she said. Linsco glared at her. That girl is the queen, and not the Areshasika. Elinsco frowned. Can there be an Areshasika? How should I know? Ever since the Ardavan and the Serevno, I have stopped thinking there are limits to whom Sia will choose, as Gaguelosso said. Linsco thought of Mirsha and the soap. Call me that one more time, Elise growled. Oh, calm down. After this, you will not have to deal with me again until Sia chooses another, as Gaguelosso said. And I dread that moment, Elise said. So do I, Elise said. He looked at Linsco and sighed. Well, I guess this is it. We won't see you again till you die. Linsco nodded. I guess not. Well, Linsco said, adjusting his hat. Good luck fighting the Jarissa King. Thank you, Linsco said, for everything. He smiled. Even the arguments about which one of us has the prettiest wife. Not the insults, though, he added, looking at Elinsco and Elinsco. Ellie frowned. Actually, the Jarissa King must still use the style from my day. I might be able to teach you how to count on it. Linsco looked thoughtful. I guess you will. He smiled. I guess this ain't the end then. Niece smiled as well. I guess not. Until next time, niece no. Goodbye, Linsco said. The clearing disappeared. He did learn from Ellie how they had fought in his time, and he and the others found weaknesses in that style and made strategies for how to exploit them. When Queen Silenda, Jarissa, and Agri arrived, the young queen hugged her brother. Guero quiso! So Masika was right. You are hiding here. It is wonderful to see you again. I am quite relieved to find you all safe, said Queen Silenda. They pulled apart and Prince Guero smiled. I am as well. In all our time apart, I forgot just how short you are. Guero, I hate you more than anything in this world. She noticed the handsome Jarissa his age standing next to him. Oh, is this the girl Ilzisnia mentioned? She asked. Prince Guero blinked. Who? She smiled. The one she thinks you will marry. He turned the same color as Linsco's hair. No! He squeaked. Queen Silenda grinned. So you do like her? I do not! He insisted. His voice was squeaking more than a 9-year-old who just picked up a reed instrument. The girl looked at him. Excuse me? Prince Guero blinked. I mean, I do, but you know what? Never mind. We are here for a battle council, not to talk about marriage. Guero quiso, it is never about time to talk about what person one's sibling loves, Queen Silenda said. She looked up at the girl. So what is your name? I am Lady Riadelia. Lady Evadelia is my Badia, said the girl. The niece of the Lady Jarissa, Queen Silenda said. I am only surprised something like this did not happen earlier. I always expected a Jarissa. That, or a Riskan girl. Do not bring that up, Silenda, said Prince Guero. When they were younger, she would always tease him about Riskans by reading overly detailed poetic descriptions of them. Occasionally, this poetry was laid in her Terran, for there, Riskans were seen as very beautiful, and many nobles took Riskan wives. Now, in Terra, these wives were, in the vast majority of cases, also their slaves, and usually treated as little more than pretty decorations. In Leda, the situation was somewhat better. The queen laughed. So where did you disappear off to? I ran to Jarissa and hid with the Lady Evadelia, Prince Guero said. Lady Riadelia nudged him. You missed the part where we saved you. Oh, Queen Silenda said. Tyrants found him. Luckily, so did we, Lady Riadelia said. Oh dear, Queen Silenda said. Please tell me you had a normal reaction and did not see it as an exciting adventure. Of course not, Prince Guero said, somewhat offended. Kara said that it is a joke up there, Queen Silenda said. Kara had, of course, not told her that someone had told Fieso that while he was spying on a Terran lord. It is. That is what I heard. He sighed. Wonderful. Queen Silenda and the Soledo she had arrived with took their places. Queen Silenda sat with Linsco, and Thefia, and they talked. Queen Silenda congratulated Linsco and Thefia, and jokingly scolded them for not inviting her. They asked if she had anyone she thought she might like to marry. She sighed. Oh, it does not work that way for most of us. When I marry, it will be for heirs and an alliance. Linsco frowned. That's sad. I know, but it is the way things are, she said. She frowned. I hear Akisa wants an alliance, actually. No, Linsco shook his head. No, you can't marry him. Queen Silenda sighed. If one of the Akisa boys, I hope it is him. Lord Echakrin is quite a bit older than me, and I hear even worse than his brother. But, Zebocron? Really? Linsco said. Like I said, I will probably not marry for love, but for a political alliance, Queen Silenda said. Linsco frowned. Sounds sad, she sighed. Yes, but it is difficult to change. The last time a monarch married solely for love, everyone started trying to kill him. Kara and Fieso arrived soon after. Gaguelosso and Lush were sleeping in their parents' arms. Fieso and Luzmo saw each other and both went rigid. Ow! Fieso said, Luzmo! Ah, I didn't know you'd be here. He blinked. Good morning. Good morning, Fieso, Luzmo said. Didn't know neither. Fieso fidgeted, glancing at Kara, who had a similar expression to his. He looked back at Luzmo, his expression remorseful, and sighed. Look, about what happened, what I used to do. Luzmo raised an eyebrow. You mean ruining my childhood? Fieso winced. Yes, that. I'm sorry about it. I was a stupid boy. I realize that now. Well, really, I realized it after you disappeared. You weren't right to do that. Just because you were small and strange and had no parents didn't mean we could treat you that way. I'm quite sorry about how I acted in tone of terror. I should have tried to help you, not made fun of you. There was a pause, then Luzmo crossed his arms. Took you long enough. He glanced at Kara. What about you? You better now? Kara nodded. A bit late, I know, but I figured it out. I'm sorry, Luzmo. I ain't the easiest child neither, but that didn't mean I could take it out on you. Well, I'm glad you finally learned that, Luzmo said. Queen Silenda looked over at her friends, confused. Linsco blinked. Are we missing something? Monksa frowned. Y'all know each other? Well, we come from the same town that's got about 100 people living in it, Luzmo said. Right, Monksa said. Fieso nodded to Vila. So, is this your wife? Vila nodded. I am, and I'm a Soledo. And I once crossed an entire province for Jarissa, Fieso said. Vila smiled. Linsco leaned over to Thefia. Are they threatening each other? He whispered. She frowned. Maybe? Zibocron arrived, along with his brother. Lord Chacrin looked like his mother if she were a man, though he was a little shorter and sturdier. Kara frowned and looked at the boys. Aqui Silonso? Aqui Silonso? What are you two doing here? Lord Chacrin frowned. What did she just call us? And which one of us was unfortunate enough to get a bravade augmentative forced onto our house name? Zibocron sighed. I do not know why she does this. Because I don't like none of you, Kara said. But I believe it is you, Zebocron continued, glaring at her. Lord Chacrin looked like the average Baradan after being called a certain word which begins with B. Does she know who our mother is? Yes, she was there 6 years ago, remember? Zebocron said. Lord Chacrin waved dismissively. I do not pay attention to the servants. Zebocron grimaced. He looked back at Kara. As I have already told you, my name is Josebo, said Zebocron. Kara frowned. If I remember right, you then called me something I'll not repeat. Zebocron sighed. Well, trust me, I would love to work with another group of people, yet it seems this is my only option. And assuming Lady Iveria remembers our interaction, she can tell you why. Elinsco may be able to as well. Ethicica blinked. He's mad at Kesha. Zebocron frowned. Kesha? You mean Ethicica, right? Kesha's a real name, Kara said. You mean Jarissa is her real name? Kara rolled her eyes. Fine, yes, she's my sister. Oh, goodness, I am sorry, he said. Kara raised an eyebrow. You're gonna apologize for that first? Really? Yes, he said simply. So then why's the Quinia here then? Kara asked. Lord Chacrin sighed. Wonderful, it is me. Our father wanted me to come to keep him out of trouble. Needless to say, he does not know that we are planning a revolution. Neither did I until we crossed the Jarissan border. Finally, Conzi arrived, bumping into the Aquinci on her way in. She looked up and realized whom she had hit. Then her face turned several shades brighter than Garento's hair. Zebocron blinked in surprise. You? She managed to nod and point to Ethicica and Kara. I did break her out of prison, Ethicica said. So that is what happened, Zebocron said, more to himself. She is my son's godmother, Kara said. Zebocron blinked. His godmother? Kara shrugged. She might have saved their lives. I think that's enough to be his godmother. Zebocron sighed. Right, that. The king did punish him for that, and I scolded him. I think he regrets it. Just because you were, he was about to say a certain term that started with E, but remembering his current company, he thought better of it. Spy did not excuse his behavior. You were a spy, but your sons did nothing wrong, and I may not like you Silenda that much, but I do not think you should die. Glad to see you got some standards, Lonxa said. Zebocron rolled his eyes. I thought we figured that out months ago. Or do you not remember what I said about tyrants? Or about what Garissa did to Lady Iveria? Akari put his arm around Verisica. Zibogron had called a hypothetical Tonataran offering him meat during De Lahe a slaving polygamist spirit-worshipping heathen. I do remember that, Lonxa said. Oh, surprising, Zebogron said. Lonxa rolled his eyes. Come sit here, Consi, Verisica said, patting an empty spot beside her. Consi looked up and then went to sit with her. Zebogron and the Lord Achakrin found places to sit as well. Good morning, Ria, Consi said. Verisica smiled. Good morning, Consica. Agri looked over at her. Are you Verisica's friend? Consi nodded. I got captured and she helped me. Verisica's expression saddened a little. Consi blinked. Did something happen? Verisica shook her head, trying to smile. It's fine. She's fine now, Agri said. She doesn't like to talk about it. Consi frowned. Who's Caresha? Gesha, my mad sister, Kara said. Calling herself Ethicica now. Consi blinked. Oh, was all she could manage. I'm sorry. Ethicica had not hurt her, but noises echoed in the dungeon, and Kara had told her enough stories from when they were younger. Like I said, it's fine, Verisica said. Now it is, Agri said. Consi was not sure what to say for a second. Then she finally said, It's nice to see you again, Agri. I think I told you about him, actually, Verisica said. Agri looked up sharply, suddenly very scared. What did you say? She smiled. Nothing the townspeople don't know. I just said you've wanted to marry me ever since we were little, and I was waiting for you to ask. He sighed. I should have asked before you left. I wanted to, but I kept putting it off. I wanted to tell you when I was helping you sneak out, but I lost my nerve. Then you left, and I didn't want to risk it. And when you came back... Verisica took his hand. It's fine, Jarissa. We're together now. He met her eyes and smiled. Consi looked at Kara. So how are y'all doing? Oh, we're fine. Babies are healthy. It's nice having seen my Seizure to help on the farm, but I'm glad Seizure finally found a wife, Kara said. Now that Kara had finally gotten over her disdain for Selendites, she and Izel had finally been able to escalate their relationship to the Seizure level. Consi nodded. The princess is all married before you showed up? Queen Silenda looked up from her conversation. I am the queen now, Consi. Consi blushed. Of course. Sorry. It is all right. Well, yes, she was, Kara said. She's with child, actually. Consi smiled. Well, that's great for her and Izel. Luzmo looked over. Izel's gonna have a baby? Well, he's been married for more than half a year now, so yes. Luzmo frowned. I've been married 4 months. That's close. And we've spent most of that time staying in an inn or the wilderness, Vila pointed out, though her expression seemed a little strange. Kara frowned, then looked up at Vila, her eyebrows raised. Vila shook her head slightly, and Kara straightened. Luzmo frowned, glancing between them and wishing he could read people better. That hasn't changed, Fieso thought, smiling a little. Consi was stiff. I see. What about you? Verisica asked. Do you know of anyone you might want to marry? Consi sighed. Not really. Can't marry a soldier unless we both leave. Don't know if I want to go back to Beretta to find someone, and most of the boys in Sonera don't want to marry a girl like me. Elinsco balanced being a mother with being a soldier, but it was too difficult for both halves of a couple to be soldiers. It was actually illegal if they had children who could not take care of themselves. Well, I'm sure you'll find someone, Verisica said. Sure, like Sharagnelo Ramieso, Consi remarked a little dryly. Verisica laughed. Agri smiled, since this had gotten much rarer after what Ethicica did to her. If you're called to it, Verisica said. I might be, actually. Thinking about the Freelanites, Consi said. Just praying, hunting, farming, and making beer. Sounds like a good life. Quiet, but I still get to use some of my skills, especially with that new military order. Verisica shrugged. Well, if it's what you're called to. Consi rolled her eyes, but was smiling a little. That's the problem. I don't know what I'm being called to. I'm sure you'll figure it out, Kara said. Says the woman who got married the moment she turned 17, Ethicica said. Says the woman who only got married after 21 because I was too nervous to ask, Agri said. Y'all ain't helping, Conzi said, still smiling. She looked up. I'm gonna talk to Lord Gaguelosso and his friends. Ethicica nodded. All right. Conzi stood and went to where Linsco, Linsco, Thefia, and Queen Silenda were. Good morning, she said. Linsco, Linsco, and Thefia looked up and all smiled broadly. Good morning, Conzi, Thefia said. Oh, thank goodness you're safe. Conzi smiled. I'm glad y'all are safe, too, she said. She looked at Linsco. Especially you, Linsco. Zibokron told me what happened to you. Well, she looked at him, at the scars and the burn over his eye. He told me you got captured. Not what she was doing to you. Linsco nodded. So what'd you do? Don't think I saw you before they moved me. I wouldn't never betray the king and queen. The old ones, that is. Ethicica rescued me, Consi said. So what happened to y'all? Zebokron only knew where you were, Linsco, and he didn't know why you weren't in the dungeon. Linsco, Linsco, Thefia, and Queen Silenda looked at each other. Like I told Zebokron, that's a long answer, Linsco said. Linsco thought for a moment, then shrugged. She was going to find out soon anyway. I tried to fight the Jarissa King, he said. He held up his hook. It didn't go well. Consi gasped. My goodness! You all right? Linsco nodded. I am now. He smiled at Thefia. Thanks to her. And Linsco Jarissa. And I guess my brother. Linsco sighed. Linsco Jarissa. Linsco smiled. I helped Elinsco get out, Thefia said. Linsco sighed. You carried me, didn't you? Goodness, that's annoying to think about. At least I didn't have to drag you, she said. I'm still annoyed. She smiled. Anyway, Linsco Jarissa held off the Jarissa King. Really? Linsco Jarissa, Linsco said. He got caught trying to escape. Thefia continued. Consi nodded. I'm sorry, Linsco Jarissa. I'm fine now, Linsco said. Consi looked at the burn over his eye. All right. She looked at Linsco and Thefia. So, y'all got married? Linsco nodded. They did! And it was about time. I've been waiting 2 years for them to get on with it. They rolled their eyes. All right, we get it. Everyone thought we were in love, Thefia said. Linsco looked at Consi. Please tell me there was at least someone who didn't. Consi shrugged. Knew there was something going on. Honestly, I thought you two were siblings for a while. He sighed. I guess that's better, but really? You don't look that alike. Thefia smiled. Elinsco, have you seen my brothers? And they were right. Consi had not seen Thefia's brothers, but her twin sister looked like she had stepped right over the Riskan border and had hair lighter than Soledo. Linsco nodded. I guess, but it's still annoying. Lady Evadelia cleared her throat. We really should start planning. Queen Silenda nodded. Yes, we should. The council was held. Garendo was having a party the night after WOH to celebrate that great feast, and they decided that would be when they made their attack. If all went well, then in a few weeks' time, Garendo, Lord Gaguelosso, and Ethicica would all be dead. Cara gave Fieso permission to kill Ethicica. This started an argument with Agri, who wanted to be the one to kill her. He cited the tradition that when a woman was disrespected in the way Ethicica had been, that the offender be handed over to her family, who could then do whatever they saw fit. Fieso said that Ethicica had been indirectly responsible for his wife being disrespected in a similar way, and Cara said that since she was her sister, only she was allowed to kill her. But since she was not going, Fieso was close enough. Vila also wanted to kill her, since she had killed her brother, treated the girl who was like a daughter to her about as badly as Terran treated his slaves, and had been Luzmo's childhood bully and the reason he had gotten his hand cut off. Thefia and Linsco might have weighed in, but they had already decided that they wanted to support Linsco. They eventually managed to work out a compromise. In Soledo, Garendo played a prelude on the funeral introit, thinking of all that had happened to him, and everything he had done. He wondered how he had gotten here, and where everyone who had loved him had gone. He wondered whether everything he had done had really been right, or if the late Queen Silenda had been right. Had there been a better way? Had there been a path that could have led somewhere else, rather than to this? Meanwhile, Lord Gaguelosso walked through the dungeon, Menosino trailing behind him and staring at the floor. Finally, he reached what he was looking for. Menosino unlocked the door to Ethicica's cell. She looked up at their approach and sighed when she saw the boy. "Finally," she said. "The second time in 2 weeks," Lord Gaguelosso said. "Why do you keep doing this?" The motion of her head suggested she was rolling her eyes. "I ain't doing nothing different. It's his fault, not mine." "He has been vocal about your methods since he returned. Only now he has actually started to punish you," Lord Gaguelosso said. She huffed. "It's so silly." "I have heard stories that he quite dislikes that sort of thing," Lord Gaguelosso said. "Torturing prisoners and such." Menosino finished unlocking the door and moved on to the Soleda's chains, though he approached her with the same wariness with which one would approach a bear. She glanced at his wrist. "Hark, you're doing much better. I want to make sure those bruises are all up." Menosino froze for a second, then pulled his sleeve up and went back to his work. "But you ain't the one down here," Ethicica continued. Lord Gaguelosso shot her a glare for the comment on Menosino's bruises. "Well, I believe part of it is because I am the Lord Roseno, while you are not the only Silenda allied with him." Ethicica sighed. Menosino had finished with her chains. She left and he followed, again staring at the floor. Once he got out, though, he winced under the force of Lord Gaguelosso's glare. Though part of him was annoyed the Michka was acting like the fact someone might be able to see the bruise on his wrist was his fault. Though he would never say it, he wished Garendo would give them a far more severe punishment than a few days in the dungeon.